Not every meal needs to send you into a food coma. So yeah, I'm making a salad, but don't get it twisted. This thing is stacked with garlicky grilled steak, juicy tomatoes, crisp cucumbers, and crumbled cheese all tied together with the first dressing I ever learned to make. So good, you'll want to drink it. But before we get into that, let's talk steak. Sound good? Let's cook. There are many different cuts of beef to use that I personally love for steak salads. The flat iron, the hanger, or the New York strip. While these cuts come from different places on the cow, I can assure you all have plenty of intramuscular fat and flavor without completely breaking the bank. For this salad, I'm going with the New York strip, and I've got 2 of them that weigh about 12 ounces each. Now, to hit them with a bit of flavor, I'm going to smash and very finely mince up 3 garlic cloves, and I'm adding it right to the top of the steaks over a plate. Next, I'm going to drizzle on about 3 to 4 tablespoons total of olive oil, and then I'm going to massage the garlic into the strips on all sides. Then last but not least, I'm going to season them up well with coarse salt and freshly cracked pepper, and I'm going to set them to the side at room temperature and get those flavors married up while I knock out some more prep. And remember, this recipe is all about getting the most amount of flavor in the shortest amount of time possible. And of course, at the end, I'll show you how to bring it all together so it finishes at the same time. Let's get cranking on our dressing. And for this, I'll be making the red wine vinaigrette, which was the first dressing I ever learned how to make back when I was 15 years old working at the Legends Country Club down in good old Eureka, Missouri. So let's start by small dicing 1 whole shallot, and then I'm adding it to a medium-sized bowl. Next, 1 garlic clove and 1 teaspoon of fresh thyme. I do like to use the stems as long as they're tender, still tons of flavor in those. Next up, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard to help the vinaigrette get emulsified up, and then for some sweetness, 3 tablespoons of honey. And honestly, this dressing is meant for honey, but you could do sugar if you'd like. Now in a vinaigrette, the standard ratio is 1 part of vinegar to 3 parts oil, but I really like a bit more vinegar flavor, especially because it will complement the steak so well. So I'm going more like 1 to 2, 2.5. So in the same bowl, add in 1/3 cup of red wine vinegar, and then for the oil, real quick, I usually do a 50-50 blend of olive and avocado oil. I find if you go all olive oil that it tends to be the overpowering flavor, and I'm looking for balance. So slowly drizzle in 3/4 cup of that blend until it's emulsified and looks like this. Hat tip to the Dijon. Almost done. But first, let's not forget to finish off with salt, pepper, and about 1 tablespoon of lemon. This will just brighten up the dressing a bit more. Give it a whisk, and of course, don't forget to taste it. I mean, how else do you know if things taste good? I promise, little things like this will make you a better cook. Now, one more quick thing. You can, of course, blend all this together. Just use half the amount of shallot and garlic because those can be extra pungent when blending. Either procedure will result in a dressing that will perfectly complement our steak salad. Now, one of the books I used early on in my career was the Flavor Bible, a book loaded with research to show you what goes well with what, and for the steak I see garlic, honey, and of course red wine vinaigrette. I'll drop a link to this epic book in the description. Before we move on, I do want to say you can absolutely feel free to use another dressing, like ranch, blue cheese, honey mustard, or even balsamic vinaigrette. All would be ridiculously good for this one. At this stage, let's quickly talk lettuce. I love a combo of greens. It just makes the salad heartier and tastier, and usually I do romaine, baby spinach, and spring mix, and not in any particular ratio. The only thing that needs prepping is the romaine, but I'm going to use half of it, so slice it in half long ways. Now you see this core. We're going to trim around it, so lay it flat, make 2 slices down the romaine, and then large dice it. I'm looking for nice bite-sized pieces here. In total, you'll get about 4 cups of cut up lettuce. Then, when I get towards the bottom, I flip it over and trim around the core. Nothing, and I mean nothing, more annoying than finding a lettuce core in your salad. Okay, add it to a strainer with about 3 cups each of the spring mix and baby spinach, and it's completely fine if you're under or over these amounts. Don't worry, you've got this. Now always, and I mean always, wash your lettuce. It's usually a bit dirty, and again, nothing worse than unclean lettuce. Ever had that gritty taste in your salad? Yeah, that's dirt. I usually just pop it in a salad spinner, and I love this one, and I'll for sure drop a link for you. Just look at all that water. Well done, spinner. Well done. And I really can't say this enough. Don't overcomplicate this. If you're making this in the summertime, you're already sweating, keep it simple. You want to use just 1 lettuce? Use 1 lettuce. All right, let's get started on the steak. So it's almost time to grill up these bad boys, but first I'm thinking I want to grill some onions alongside, so I'm going to slice off the ends, peel, and thickly slice one red onion. Try to keep the rings intact and I'll show you why in a second. But first, let's bring everything outside to a preheated grill on high heat, which is usually between 500 and 600 degrees F. I've got one side of the grill pretty dang hot, so on that side is where I'll lay down my steaks, and on the other side where things are on low heat, I'll place down the onions. This is why I keep the rings together. Way easier and cleaner to grill. And hey, no need for anything else. Let the purity of the onion flavor do all the talking. So for the steak, you're looking at about 2 minutes per side for a medium rare or about 125 degrees F internal temperature. But I think someone is planning on joining me today for lunch, and well, she likes medium. I know, but it is what it is. So I'll be cooking these for an extra minute per side. I'm going to shut the door on the grill, and then I'm going to flip these after 90 seconds to try and get a nice even cook. Then I'll flip them back after those 90 seconds to then line up and try to get those coveted 90-degree grill marks. Once I flip those for the second time is when I then flip over the onions. Okay, one more quick flip on the strips and a quick 1-minute cook, and we're at 4 total minutes. Not too bad. And if you're not sure on where your steak should be, don't sweat it. Just use a thermometer. And just a little FYI, here's what those temperatures should be. Let's get the steak and onions off for a good 6 to 8 minute rest on a rack to let all those beefy juices redistribute. And in the meantime, I want some more goodies for this salad.
And one of the most beautiful things about salads is you could literally put on it whatever you want. We used to call this accessorizing the salads. Just find out what's in peak season, what's on sale, and what you like. There are no rules.
I'm thinly slicing up half of an English cucumber, and no, there aren't any measurements here. Add as little or as much as you want. Next, slicing some cherry tomatoes in half, and then why not some radishes? These go insanely well with steak, and for a little more kick, I'm going to slice up a Fresno pepper. But to cool that one off, I'm going to slice in half, peel, and then slice up an avocado. And then, come on now, this thing for sure needs some cheese, and for me, crumbling up some blue cheese is where it's at. Although I think grated pecorino or parmigiano would be awesome as well. And last but not least, I love adding fresh herbs to salads. Treat this thing like you would any dish. A fine mince of chives and thyme is what I want to add. Now for the plating, there really isn't any perfect way to do this. You can just add and mix, or what I like to do is sort of fan everything out on the lettuce and showcase all the different ingredients. That way I can pick and choose what I want, and I can add more of what I really love. Give the veggies a gentle season of salt and pepper. Again, treat this like a meal. Then let's thinly slice up our steak, and gosh, does this smell so good. I'm going to showcase this one a little bit more, so I'm fanning it out right down the center to let everyone know this is a steak salad. Almost done, but first don't forget the dressing, then the blue cheese crumbles, and of course, last but not least, the fresh herbs. And yeah, my wife, who barely likes steak, absolutely loves this.
It's fast, it's packed with flavor, loaded with protein, way lighter than those usual gut bombs, which is perfect for those hot summer days when you don't want something that completely weighs you down. Now you should definitely check out my video for 5 popular dressings that would go awesome with this. See you there. Immediately. Perfect flavor combo with the steak, the vinaigrette, the blue cheese. Yo!